BYU TV football analyst Blaine Fowler in studio with us, and that was a difficult night, tough one for Cougar fans to digest, let alone the team.
Yeah, it was a tough night, and BYU's got to be disappointed because physically they matched up very well with the University of Utah. In fact, I think they're very evenly matched teams in terms of team speed, the ability to play, physically along the front. But they made more mistakes than Utah did, and Utah wasn't without their errors on the field. And after the game, right after, my immediate thought was, wow, BYU just gave Utah way too many opportunities, too many false start penalties, too many major penalties, big punt returns, and they made it easy on Utah. And now having a chance to review the game a little bit more and think about it, I feel exactly the same way as I did after the game, and that is the team that made fewer mistakes won the ball game. And Utah did not turn the ball over, and BYU turned it over twice.
Let's talk about Riley Nelson. He was not himself, didn't play with the fire that we had seen. You go back to his first play from scrimmage was the bad snap into the end zone. He jumps on the ball and there's a face masking call as his head gets ripped around. But he was never the same from that point on. His body language, everything, including his performance and getting rid of the football quick, getting out of the pocket, which is what he does. What happened?
He took that first play that you talked about. You and I wondered from that point on if maybe that grabbing of the face mask and getting twisted in the end zone had an impact on his back or the way that he was going to play the rest of that game. He certainly didn't seem to have the fire that he normally has. You can attribute some of that to the University of Utah. They really pressured him. They smacked him around. Even some of the balls that he completed, he took big hits. And so, he maybe wasn't functioning on all cylinders because he'd been beaten up a little bit. Coming into the game, he was beat up, and I think he got beat up more in this game. But we didn't see that fire and that enthusiasm and jumping around and firing guys up quite like we've seen out of Riley Nelson in the past. And I don't know the answer to why.
A couple of questions about special teams. Justin Sorensen was back, attempted his first field goal of the season, missed it in that first half. And Riley Stevenson's kick is the one that was blocked at the end of the game after the melee and all that stuff. and Riley Stevenson's the punter. Perhaps he shouldn't be kicking field goals. Should the kicking situation have been addressed in fall camp as opposed to just riding it out for Justin Sorensen to come back from his back surgery?
It's really hard to have addressed it because they weren't sure of the injury,
right.
and they were told that he would be back. And Bronco, you remember 2 weeks before the opener, said, no, he will be our kicker on game day, on opening day, and then he wasn't. So Bronco was convinced he was going to be healthy, and it's taken this long, and it put him in a bad situation. And we've talked about it right from the beginning. You'd like Stevenson, who's a tremendous punter, to just be able to focus on that and not have to worry about kicking the football. And Bronco's the one that said it after the game. You have two opportunities at the end of that game. You had the one that got blocked, and Starlo to Lele was got too much penetration, so the front didn't execute properly and they got it blocked. And then they had an opportunity when they did execute on the front and they didn't execute the kick. It hit the left upright. You get two chances at the end of the game. You like your chances on that, and BYU did not convert on either.
We do not have luck up there kicking field goals.
No.
That is for sure. All right, the game changer for BYU. Who stood out?
Well, Cody Hoffman was really good in this ball game again on the offensive side. When a big play had to be made, he was the guy that made the big play. And you see his 8 receptions for 120 yards in this game and the 1 touchdown. His second straight game that he's led the team in receiving. And it just seems like when there's a big play that needs to be made, he's the guy that goes and makes that play. And so we're going to give him our helmet sticker this week. We've had to go to the other side of the helmet because we've come to the other side. And Riley Nelson tells us they've got to be close together so you can fit them all on there. So we're going to go right here with that one. That helmet sticker goes to Cody Hoffman for another great performance and coming up in the clutch when they needed a big play on 4th and 12. That was as big a play as there was in that game.
There's the thought of they're throwing to Hoffman too much because no one else is getting the ball. And then there's the thought they didn't throw enough to Hoffman because he's that good.
And you want to get the ball to him. He's a big-time player. I think they targeted him enough in this ball game. I did not see the ball being spread around like we would like to see it spread around. Not enough receivers involved. 2 weeks ago we talked about 10 different receivers, touching the football and being targeted and catching balls. You'd like to see 12 or 13 if you can. And in this ball game, BYU just wasn't effective enough in the passing game to distribute the ball to a lot of different receivers.
The Y factor for the game, Jamal Williams, we didn't see much of him in the first 2 games, and then all of a sudden, Blaine, we saw a lot of him at Utah.
We got a glimpse of how good he can be. He is a guy that has great speed and good vision, just those natural instincts. We see him on a big run here. I love the way he finishes runs. For a freshman, and a 17-year-old freshman at that, He's not afraid to mix it up, to put that shoulder down, and to finish a run. We see Taysom Hill running the option with him here. And look at that vision to cut back, see the lane, and then he's very physical at the goal line and finishes the play. I think we will see more and more of Jamal Williams as the season progresses. And Michael Easter played well, and I think the combination of those two is going to be a really nice combination as this season goes on.
Despite all the penalties and the turnovers and the crazy things that happened, let's go to the final drive in our film session and take a look at a couple of key moments.
Well, we're going to start with the 4th and 12 play. And boy, does this like deja vu all over again here, as Utah should be thinking, wait a minute, BYU's going to go deep here. Cody Hoffman's going to line up on the near side of the field closest to us. He's going to run a post fade. So he's going to sell the fact that he's going inside. The safety is over in the middle of the field, and the corner is going to get caught looking back in the backfield. This is Mo Lee, who's in coverage here. And he's going to look back. When he looks back in the backfield, he loses track of where Cody Hoffman is. Now stop here. The safety was trying to run from the middle of the field. He's getting there too late. He's not on top of the thing. You see Mo Lee trying to chase from behind. If the ball is thrown out in front, if Riley Nelson has time, and on this play you saw he got smacked, this maybe becomes a touchdown and not just a great complete. You see how he had to idle down just a little bit on that one? Riley got smacked as he was letting it go. Now here's the almost last play of the game. The almost. Falslev's going to run a little hitch route, and then Cody Hoffman's going to do an out and up. And Utah is going to jump the out and up with their corner. The safety is going to jump on J.D. Falslev's hitch route here. And the far safety is going to try to get over the top. That's where Riley Nelson is trying to go, is on the out and up. But he gets hit as he's letting go of the football. Everybody thought perhaps he was trying to target J.D. Falslev. No. Watch where Cody Hoffman is on this. He is wide open. The safety is undercut it. The corner is behind him. If Riley Nelson can step up on that play, and you see there still is the 1 second left on the clock, so the one more play came. On those two plays, if there's enough protection for Riley Nelson to be able to step up and throw with his legs, because the legs and your hips are a big part of your ability to get something on the football, those are two touchdown possibilities. The 4th and 12 play, Cody makes a good play, and it's a great ball, considering he was hit. A better ball would have been out in front and making him accelerate to the football. And perhaps that one that ended with 1 second left, instead of attempting a field goal, that would have been a game-winning touchdown. It's all about 11 guys, and the protection has to be there to execute those plays down the stretch.
And in that second half, Riley had zero protection.
He got pounded in that game. He really did. And John Hayes got pounded in that game, too, by BYU's front. These are two really good defenses.
All right, more from you on Boise State a bit later in the show. Thanks, Blaine.